Welcome into the Buffalo Down podcast for the divisional round. We predicted the correct result of the wild card round, the Bills advancing on. We didn't know what team until late. We actually did. We knew Denver because of the Chargers Patriots game later that night, and the Chargers couldn't do anything for the Bills to hopefully send them, anywhere else. But the Bills head to Denver. They're on the plane right now to go take on the 1 seed Denver Broncos. I'm Joe Cali. He's Justin Siejak. We're back with you. It's exciting. I mean, is it almost like everyone's desensitized? Like, because the Bills have just made so many pushes to the divisional round, and like last year, the AFC Championship, they went to the AFC Championship in like 2020. Like,
Yeah.
are we a little bit desensitized, you think, of like this? Not a lot of teams get to this point kind of a thing?
Yeah, I kind of feel where you're coming from there. I mean, it's been so many years in a row at this point, and I think it rings harder because they just haven't finished the job yet. So it's kind of like, okay, here's another year. Let's see if they can do it. It's not the same as like, oh my God, we were so close last year. Let's do it again. Let's run it back. It's kind of not the same deal. So I can see where you're coming from with that. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to take anything away from them making them or anything like that, saying like, oh, we don't care about it. But that's not what I'm saying. It's just crazy how it's be like a normal thing for them to make a deeper playoff run. So speaking of the deep playoff run, they're pushing for the Super Bowl in a year where there's been a lot of criticism surrounding the team in many areas, right? And they haven't been as strong as the past. They put out a pretty damn good showing against Jacksonville. And just speaking about the wild card for a few minutes before we dive into the upcoming matchup, I got to give Sean McDermott a lot of credit. That coaching performance, and I'm a McDermott believer, right? And I'm not trying to be a defender or whatever, but that performance against Liam Cohen, he schooled him. We talked about that divisional round last year, the Ravens, how the Bills had no business really winning that game, and he allowed that to happen. Like Liam Cohen, the Jags theoretically very well could have won that game a couple times, but like McDermott throwing the challenge flag, like he gets credit for that. I thought he wasn't gonna, but he ended up doing it, so all sins are forgiven. But the clock management, like he did a good job with that. Like in the kneel and score, that's the only gray area anyone can really point a finger at. What did you think? What did you think they should do? Do you think they should have taken a knee and then tried to run the clock down a bit, or should they have scored the way they did and just hoped for the defense to make a play like Cole Bishop ended up doing and Trey White?
It's a funny one. I've seen that conversation all week long. I didn't mind how they approached it because, like, you never know. Like, you just never know with the NFL. Yeah. I think back to the Minnesota Vikings game a few years back where it's a different scenario, but like you just never know. A QB sneak and Josh fumbled the ball to get the ball at the 1 yard line. Blah 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 blah. Whatever. Yeah. But you know what I'm saying? Like you never know. It's the NFL. Anything can happen. These are humans. These are athletes. Anything can happen at the end of the day. So when you get an opportunity lined up at the 1 like that with your 6'5", 250-pound quarterback, hurry up on the ball and get in there. And on top of that, we've seen that the entire second half, the Bills defense was doing a great job at kind of giving Trevor Lawrence and the Jags offense some fits. Even with, Parker Washington had a big game for them, but it started to slow down for the Bills defense, especially in the fourth quarter. And we saw that when it came down to, okay, Trevor Lawrence, you got a 1 minute drive at home. Can you get it done? First play, interception. It's a contested ball. Trey White makes the play on the ball. In hindsight, I think it looks fine. Maybe we're having a different conversation if the Bills lose.
Well, imagine if they took a knee and they went for a QB sneak block, right? That kind of package. And then they end up folding Allen backwards as he goes down to take the knee. Like, there are just a lot of variables, and you're absolutely right. I'm kind of indifferent. If they took a knee, I would have understood why. And if they went for it, I'm like, okay, you wanted the points. You wanted to secure the win. I understand. And the defense, you're right, had been playing well. The only negative really was Jordan Hancock. Like, that was really it. Like, that was not great coming in. I got a lot of flack online for this. I ended up tweeting out, losing Jordan Poyer destroyed the secondary, right? Because then Parker Washington did just sort of go off for quite a while there and kept the Jags in the game. And then I got a lot of responses after the fact of, well, Trey White and Cole Bishop would like to have a word with you. I'm like, listen, that's a phenomenal play by two phenomenal players in the secondary. I'm 100% with you. That doesn't take away from the fact that they got worked because Jordan Poyer got injured, right? And to even sit here and talk about how important of a piece Poyer became to this team, it's kind of crazy in the year 2026, right? Like we're sitting here talking about this, but he's not going to play this week. Now there's Maxwell Harrison, and that's completely confirmed by the coach right now. So we have to wait and see others, but I think they're going to be better off this week. That was a mid-game injury, so can prepare for it and everything like that, and hopefully be better about it. But
a rookie getting thrusted in mid-playoff game is never going to give you good results.
No. And listen, like I said, I wasn't trying to take away from anyone else's performance in the secondary. It just changed the way the secondary was and gave the Jags kind of life on the offense. So,
and by the way, I think if we see Jordan Poyer again this year, it'll be the Super Bowl because a hamstring is never easy.
No,
and
he's
just kind of he's week to week. Just kind of listening to McDermott throughout the week. This week, the tone wasn't very promising. I don't think if he comes back, it won't be next week in the AFC Championship.
No.
But the good thing is, and depending how you feel about this, DeMar Hamlin is probably going to be ready to go for the Bills. So you got another body to potentially rely on.
Yeah, and that's huge. I mean, he's serviceable. I mean, you worry about him because he hasn't really played at all this season. So, like, getting thrust into this, like, how's he going to do? But he's been working for it. He's been in the situation before, so he knows what he's doing. So, and he played pretty well with Cole Bishop for a time. So, I mean, more power to DeMar Hamlin. And
maybe you get some Darnell Savage in there. Who knows?
Darnell Savage, yeah. And listen, the Bills' defense right now, all things considered, is somewhat healthy. Right? Like Ed Oliver's trending back up. You might see him next week. Could even see him this week. We haven't gotten official word on that yet. You might see him for a limited number of snaps just to kind of get him back into things. But like they're kind of trending in the right direction. And some of the players, I have to highlight Greg Rousseau here because I think we did last week too. And I think you were saying how big of a game he needs to have, and he did. Yeah. He had that game. Joey Bosa was absolutely silent, and Greg Rousseau was the premier pass rusher on the edge for them. So, and the two rookies played really well as well, Deion Walker and TJ Sanders. So, listen, it could be a lot worse going into Denver on the defensive side of the football. Now, speaking on the Jags defense, I got to get your take on this. 2009 Saints, is that what we were watching out there, trying to hurt players and, take them out of the game, all that stuff? Like, looked a little Bounty Gate-ish, did it not?
It did. No, they were going after the kneecaps, as Dan Campbell would say. It sucks. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if their coordinator, their linebackers coach, whatever, was telling them to play more physical. So be it, whatever. Establish the tone. Every defense want to establish the tone, but you do it in a respectful and meaningful manner. When you're going at the knees routinely, like we saw with Josh, we saw with Gabe Davis. Who am I missing? I know somebody else got a knee bit, but it was just like, man, like, really? Do we have to roll up on these guys like that and fly full force into one of the most important body parts of the lower half of your body? So, yeah, I mean, it is. It's kind of crazy. I was like, oh, wow. And then did you see the photo of Gabe Davis's leg and how bruised up it was? I mean, holy cow.
And it's the same leg as his previous knee injury, too, which is just terrible. It'd be tough for him to probably play a snap ever again, which is a sad thing to say. But, I mean, coming back from that, and it already looked gnarly, just the healing process and the scars, and then you're looking at more bruising underneath that, like it just doesn't seem good. So, I mean, Gabe Davis came in, made a few big plays for him throughout the season. Like, got to give him the credit where credit is due. But, yeah, it was – did you hear the Jags reporter post-game, the question he asked to Josh Hines-Allen?
What did he say?
He said something along – and this is paraphrasing, but the wordage is pretty much what he said. You did everything you could. You put Josh Allen in the blue tent a couple times. Like that's what we're openly admitting that's what happened. Like what? Like, I'm sorry. And they need, I will say, I think they need to have a better way. Like, fines are fines. They're going to get fined probably for the hits they made. But they need to have a more direct way of handling this on the field. It was pretty apparent. Like, they were going low. They were rolling on Josh Allen, all of that. So, like, I don't know. I guess that's a do better NFL, get on my soapbox moment. But I don't know. It just wasn't. You could tell the entire time. It was like the Cobra Kai sweep the leg in the Karate Kid. Like, it was
It was physical. That was a physical game from the start. It was.
And the Bills were able to win. Brandon Cooks had a great game. Big catch there, awesome. Really turned the tide. So he's becoming more involved, which is very good, like getting downfield. They have a downfield pass game a little bit with him. Who else? Tyrell Shavers, terrible. He played the second half with a torn ACL, which is just absolutely bonkers. If you ask anybody, like, how was he able to do that? But he was, and I guess the explanation was lateral movements become really tough on an ACL tear, but it's vertical. Like, he was still tush pushing on those last few tush pushes. He was still out there doing that. Like,
it sucks that came on a special teams rep. It's like, man, really? Like,
I know.
So unfortunate.
know.
I hoping for a quick recovery there. He was looking promising at moments in the season, but like, man, the Bills have had some incredible misfortune on the injury report this year. It's crazy.
Yeah, doesn't it seem like we're saying that every year? Like when AJ Klein's called in to take on the Chiefs in the divisional round a couple years ago, like it feels like we kind of are dealing with that frequently, but I don't know. It's just something the Bills are going to have to deal with, but I don't know. Looking towards this Denver matchup, anything else you want to mention on the Jacksonville front that you took away from the game, or are you ready to move into the divisional round?
No, I think we saw kind of, we teased about it in the last episode, the Bills utilizing that 2 tight end attack, and Dawson Knox had a big catch for them, and Dalton Kincaid got in the end zone, even if he was banged up a little bit. I think he's still actually sporting a brace, but I think or not a brace, a boot rather. But that's a precautionary measure, according to head coach Sean McDermott. So that sounds good. The offensive line played well for the most part. Josh was incredible. I don't think we need to spend too much time on that. And Trey White again. I mean, just for him to step in and make that play. Let me ask you this: and we can kind of use this as a segue into the Broncos segment. With Jordan Poyer being out at safety, what would you want them to primarily field? Who are we looking at? Are we looking at Cam Lewis? Are we looking at Hancock? Are we looking at Savage? Are we looking at Hamlin? You've got 4 names to choose from. What would you want to see heading into this next match?
I want to see Cam Lewis or Hamlin. I think those two guys give you your best chance. Hancock's just young, and getting thrusted into a divisional round game as your first start is going to be a nightmare scenario. Not saying he can't play well. I'm sure he could, but it's just a scary situation to find yourself in. Especially Cam Lewis is one of their. I mean, I'm a big Cam Lewis guy. He can play any position on that field and play it effectively. He's filled in for Taron Johnson and played a very good game. He's filled in for the cornerbacks and played a good game. Like, you can kind of plug and play him anywhere and he'll be serviceable. So I feel like you know what Cam Lewis is going to give you. You can trust Cam Lewis. You know what DeMar Hamlin's going to give you. Hopefully, it's been a while, like I said, but Savage and Hancock are just a little, what's the word? Little green, right?
Sure.
Like a little too green for a playoff game just to throw them in there for me. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a stone to be unturned potentially with Darnell Savage. I like what he's done in his NFL career, but I don't think this is the week to experiment.
Yeah.
You want to get the guys with the most continuity, if you will. So guys that have been in the system, and that's where I think you're right. Jordan Hancock obviously is a rookie, had a rough game, kind of to be expected. And McDermott spoke about that, after the games, he's doing a lot for us, and he's taking in a lot at one time. So of course there's going to be, growing pains. I think you're right though, Joe. I think Hamlin and Cam Lewis provide the best form of continuity. Yeah. And I think that matters in the playoffs. It really does.
Yeah. If it matters at any point, it's the divisional round. Like, it's getting nitty gritty now. And the only teams you're playing are arguably the best of the best, right? Jacksonville is probably your biggest test.
You're playing the 1 seed. There's no beating around it.
Whether they're fraudulent or not, they're the number 1 seed in the AFC for a reason. So they were able to put a couple games together. And one last thing before we just dive all the way into this Broncos matchup. I know he's not getting the award this year, but Josh Allen, the reigning MVP, is he just like the ultimate MVP? Because if you look at that Jacksonville game, the whole thing was, we lost because we didn't have Josh Allen. Like, that's what everyone there is saying.
Yeah.
If you put him on any of these teams and the Bills beat them, like if Allen beats them without them and they're the 6th seed, like you're tearing through the playoffs because you have Josh Allen.
Yeah, I mean, that's the luxury the Bills have, yeah.
And if any of these other teams had him, they'd be tearing through the playoffs too. Like, I don't know. It's just like the award's the award, but
sure.
Isn't he just like the eternal MVP as long as he's sporting number 17 on the Bills?
I can't tell you how many times I've said the same thing this entire season. He is genuinely I don't even want to sound like this is a glaze or whatever, but he's the greatest playoff player I've ever seen in my life.
in
And
every metric.
I don't know how much merit anyone out there wants to hold on to that. I'm 25 years old. I've probably been watching football for 13 years. I haven't seen anybody rise to the occasion and say, nah, F that. We're not losing this game like he does. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm. It's insane. It's insane. And he'll win the game. He'll do whatever
He's
it takes
the
to win.
Ultimate gamer.
So, like, I don't know. He's kind of like the eternal MVP in my mind, but we'll see who wins the award coming up in a few weeks here. But looking now to Denver, Sean Payton. Say what you want about him. We're gonna steer clear of that. But we were talking about the 2009 Saints. I mean, that's the guy right there, the Bounty Gate guy. So Kevin James played him in a movie too. Did you ever know that?
I did see that. That was a weird casting.
Weird casting. Not a bad movie, but I think it's a little bit of propaganda to help boost his view outside of the arena. But Bo Nix, Marvin Mims, Cortland Sutton. And who's the running back? Why am I blanking on his name? I was talking about RJ Harvey. I was talking about him all day.
And Troy Franklin's had a nice season for them as well.
Troy Franklin. Yeah, we both did that. I'm not worried. Like, I don't know. Like, it's so weird. Jacksonville, I was like biting my nails all week. Yeah. Like, just what are we going to see out of this team? What are they going to be able to do? This game, I'm just kind of like, they're the Broncos. They're pretty much the same team you played last season. There's a Broncos guest, one of the craziest ones on the station ever. And he's like, oh, look at, like, I tell you what's different. Like, look at Josh Allen's progression in year 2 and look at Bo Nix. I'm like, they're not the same quarterback at all. I don't know what you're alluding to. The fact that you're trying to compare Josh Allen and Bo Nix in the same sentence, but they don't have it. Like, and this is what happened last year. The Bills will run with, or not the Bills, the Broncos will run with RJ Harvey. They're going to. But Sean Payton, the Broncos throw it more than any other team in the NFL. Yeah. The Bills are just going to run a zone package the entire game, disguise a bunch of stuff, and light them up like they did last year. Like, I don't know. I'm just seeing more of what we saw in that wild card matchup. And you can say what you want about their front, right?
Yeah.
It's like the same front almost as last year. And James Cook had over 100 yards on him last year. Mm-hmm. Like, and he's healthy. He basically had a bye week last week, James Cook. He didn't get banged up, like, I don't know. Like, what do you think? Where are you at? I'm not really fearing this team by any means.
I mean, you certainly don't fear them for the skill position players. I would even argue you don't fear them for Bo Nix.
No,
you do fear them. You do fear them. Regardless how you feel, Sean Payton's a Hall of Fame coach. He's been there. He's done that. He's got a ring. He's very smart, offensively especially. You fear the offensive line. Multiple Pro Bowlers, multiple All-Pros. You've got Garrett Bowles at left tackle, Quinn Miners in the middle there. And even on the defensive side of the ball, the defensive line is what scares me the most here. And I kind of alluded to that before we kick things up here.
Yeah.
Nick Bonitto and Zach Allen and Jonathan Cooper, they're going to get after you. This is kind of, I don't want to say it's the same magnitude of the Texans pass rush. You're dealing with the same thing kind of here. And these guys are going to get home. Nick Bonitto's fast, man. The Nick Bonitto against Deion Dawkins, that's going to be like must-see football. I'm excited to watch that. Jonathan Cooper is going to have likely Spencer Brown to deal with. And then, Zach Allen's going to probably draw a few double teams here and there because he's just so dominant in the middle. I remember him playing with the Cardinals even as like a third-round pick, and he really just exploded onto the scene. He became, just an incredible force on the defensive front. They're getting Dre Greenlaw back. It goes without saying that Pat Surtain's the best quarterback in football, and Riley Moss isn't a bad compliment. Talanoa Hufanga was an All-Pro this year in the secondary. It's like these guys, this defense is riddled with legit talent. Vance Joseph calling the plays, obviously, guy who's been there and done that around the league. You fear them for reasons other than you would have feared the Jaguars. You fear them for the gritty stuff, the trenches.
And I think they might fear you for something similar. Your pass defense and your defensive front still hits home with like Greg Rousseau, and if Bosa kicks up again, right? Like, I don't know. I don't necessarily see a defensive game because the Jaguars put up 37 points on them earlier this season. And I know past results don't guarantee future outcomes, but teams have been able to throw the ball and run the ball on them. So they'll get the big plays when they need it, I bet, right? But I do think the Bills are going to be able to have theirs as well. Like, that's, I guess, why I'm not panicking or as uneasy. When the clock hits 0 and the game starts tomorrow, I'm going to be freaked out because it's all or nothing. It's do or die, survive in advance. But, like, I don't know. I see James Cook having a good game like he did last year. Curtis Samuel had a touchdown last year at least, and I mean he's healthy. He's going to be playing for them, meaningful snaps, and that's the injury front. We talked about who was injured, but who will be playing is more of the question. Because you have Mecole Hardman, you have Keon Coleman. Is he going to have to step up and play a big game? Like, if there's never been a louder moment for Keon Coleman, and I mean to silence people, it would be now, right?
Yep.
Like, what do you foresee? This who are they sending out there? Who's their package? And especially Ty Johnson got upgraded to a limited participant, but I mean, you still don't feel great about his chances to play. So it might be Frank Gore Jr. again. What do you think?
As always, it's a numbers game. How the Bills, I don't know what they're game planning against the Broncos. I don't know if they want to throw the ball 40%, run the ball 60, or vice versa, whatever. If I'm kind of looking at it from my perspective, I think you see Brandon Cooks, Khalil Shakir, Keon Coleman. I think they activate 6. I think you see Christian Wilkerson get called up from practice squad for special teams purposes. And who am I missing? Oh, Curtis Samuel. Curtis Samuel's healthy. So now it's like, okay, you got some new weapons in there. See, it's not exactly the time of the year that you want to get some new weapons in there, but you deal with. It's the NFL. Anything happens. Yeah. So I think those are your guys out there. I bet you Frank Gore Jr. gets called up again. So you have James Cook, Ray Davis, Frank Gore Jr. And then, it's just some new faces on offense, and you don't know what they can bring. So it's kind of exciting to think about, but it's kind of like, okay, well, I hope they're ready for the task.
Yeah. It's funny. I'm sitting here. I got a notification on my phone, and it's keep doubting Josh Allen, and it's Stephen A. Smith on First Take. You want to take a listen real quick? I've got it.
Do it. Yeah.
All right, let's see.
This is ridiculous. Okay. First of all, Josh Allen got the knee injury, got the finger injury, but he'll overcome that. They got 14 dudes on IR, listed on IR. 14 dudes, okay? You got Shavers, he's out. You got Davis, he's out. I'm just looking at Denver, 68 sacks on the season. You got 4 different cats with at least 7 sacks, led by Benito with 14. You're going to get to the quarterback, okay? You got Patrick Surtain shutting down a full half of the field. It's just too much to overcome, okay? I get you. We love Josh Allen. He's the best in the business. He's going home. And he's got a beautiful home to go to, by the way.
Okay, Stephen A. I mean,
what in the world?
I mean, it's a takey take on a talk show because they got to shoot 500 at some point, right?
Yeah.
Like if Cam Newton's saying that they're going to win, someone's got to say they've got to lose.
I'm not listening to Stephen A. Smith's opinion on the Buffalo Bills. I bet you he doesn't even know who Tyrell Shavers is.
No, and I paused the clip before Ryan Clark opened his mouth too, so we didn't have to hear any of that. But it's interesting. Just because it's the same thing, like during the Jags week, it seemed like everybody was picking the Jags, but giving every reason why the Bills could win the game. Like, we're just getting more of the, doubt them, whatever, and they're going to come out and beat you. Like this, I think that'll happen. I don't know if the Bills are going home. I don't think Josh Allen's really going to let them go home. I think it's not like they don't hear the noise either, and they're not going to just roll over for the Denver Broncos that I think are a fraudulent 1 seed. And I know we've talked about it before, like how scared. And I know you mentioned Benito. I know they have a good defensive front. I know they do. And I know Surtain's back there. It didn't really stop them last year from having their way with them. So I don't know. And basically everyone's worried about the altitude. Josh Allen played in in Wyoming, right? Yeah. Like, what? It's basically a college home game for him.
Right.
Like he's used to being up in the mountains. You know what I mean?
It really is as simple as this. The game script's going to come down if the Bills can slow down that pass rush. I think the Bills actually drew a decent matchup here because I think you can debate me on this if you want. I think this matchup is more favorable than the Jaguars matchup. The Broncos aren't as dominant against the run, and you kind of want to lean into one of your best playmakers on the football field, James Cook. You want to use him. So it's kind of like, okay, well, you might have something there. And then when they think it's run, play action, Dalton Kincaid, Dawson Knox, whatever, Brandon Cooks down the field. I like it. It's just going to come down to the Bills' ability to stop that pass rush. We're going to need to see Joe Brady send some chips, some double teams, but he's going to have to get creative in protections. Josh is going to have to be in his A game pre-snap. And that's what makes the game so interesting. I think Josh is the ultimate football mind, and so is Sean Payton. I don't think I'm going to give that credit to Bo Nix yet, so.
No, we'll see if he ever gets that credit. I mean, He's had some questionable decisions, all that stuff. So we'll see. I mean,
he played good football this year. I really like Bo Nix. I don't think he's like this.
We can't talk about him in the same breath as Josh Allen.
Not
like
at
when
all.
people
No.
when people do that, that's where you lose me. Like, yeah, he's a good quarterback.
That's crazy.
But Drew Brees wasn't Tom Brady. I mean, let's just be honest, right?
Yeah.
Like that's where we're at. So I don't know. It's funny. I use Drew Brees and it's a Sean Payton comparison.
Yeah.
But anything else? Like any lingering thoughts here? Like who do you want the Bills to play, I guess, in the AFC Championship? I'm of the mind I think they could beat both of them, Houston or New England. I'm not going to lie to you. I legitimately think they have a shot. But to walk into New England, kick down the door, and be like, you know what? Yeah, good. Congrats. You won the division. You got a hard schedule next year, first place. Well, we'll just be taking that back from you. You get to go home. Congratulations. I'm all in on that.
Yeah.
And like I think they could beat the Texans again. It's a less favorable matchup with the defense. Don't get me wrong. But what do you think? You
I think
Patriots?
rather. I think that the better storyline is the Patriots. I think I'd rather play the Texans purely off of historically the Bills are better against teams that they've already played.
Yes, and C.J. Stroud can't operate like Davis Mills for whatever reason. So.
C.J. Stroud had a disaster class against the Steelers. He's lucky he got bailed out by Will Anderson and Daniel Hunter. That defense is, again, I think I said it on X earlier this week. That's probably the best defense I've seen in the last decade. Mm-hmm. But I do like the Bills' chances if they play him again. One thing I want to touch on before we go in this Broncos game, and it's kind of, I need your opinion on this.
Okay.
Kind of looks like Terrell Bernard is rounding the corner to come back. How do you approach this? Oh,
man. Yeah. Shaq Thompson, I think, still gets the nod. That defense is better with him out there in that position. So I have no worry about that. Like, in all seriousness, I can't do it. Like, I know he's your captain. I know he's the guy. I know you did that. But it's playoff time, and it's who plays the position better and more effectively.
Right.
It's been Shaq Thompson over the year, so run with it. I think you have to.
I think you're right. I think you'll see TB get on there maybe on some passing downs because he can cover the field maybe a little bit better than Shaq Thompson. I say that Shaq Thompson had an interception last game.
Right.
But, you know how McDermott is. I think you'd have to be dumb to not play your best players in the divisional round of the playoffs on the road.
Mm-hmm.
I think there will be a healthy management of the load between the two. I would tend to believe that they give the nod to Thompson as the starter, especially because they usually don't send guys coming off of big injuries back into the lineup right away. So, I think he'll get sprinkled in here and there. Same thing with that Oliver if he does get activated. I tend to believe it's not this week. It'll be next week. But who knows?
Yeah, it'll be interesting. We'll wait and see. We're going to watch it all play out this weekend. It's the divisional round. Some good games slated in the NFC, too. Sam Darnold taking on, oh, my God, I'm totally blanking right now. Darnold taking on the 49ers. That'll be a good one. And then you have the Rams taking on the Bears. So that's a good weekend for football.
Ooh, that's going to be a good one.
That'll be a good one. That's in
Before we go, give me your X factor going into this game.
Oh, good call. I got to say, X Factor's got to be James Cook, right? Like, in all seriousness. Yeah. I mean, I hate to be picking the low-hanging fruit, just like grabbing and going. But like I said, he didn't really do anything last week. And Denver is more gettable with their run defense, right?
Sure,
You're able to chunk some runs away. And he's one of the more slippery running backs in the NFL. He's going to take advantage of these guys. So I think he needs to you need to establish the run. And I know some Bills fans are going to be nauseous hearing that. They want Josh Allen to just throw all the time. But like you said, play action comes after establishing the run.
Yep.
The Bills are great on play action. So, you got to get James Cook involved early and keep him involved throughout the game to really keep them guessing on what's coming next, I think.
Absolutely.
What's your X factor?
My X factor is going to be the Bills' offensive line. I think they just need to have a day against this pass rush. We know what it looks like when Josh Allen's fighting for his life with no time in the pocket. And I always think back to that Texans game, and it's weird because it's a bit of an outlier. Deion Dawkins was very obviously concussed. Spencer Brown was playing with one arm. But when the defense is getting home like that, there's just no chance of assembling any kind of rhythm. So it'll be the Bills' offensive line. It'll be Deion Dawkins. It'll be Spencer Brown. And it's going to be Connor McGovern and, Cyrus Torrence and David Edwards. It really is. They've got to find a way to slow down these playmakers in the defensive front.
Yeah, I like it. Listen, It all comes down to this: survive in advance once again. Bills
Yes, sir.
Mafia. I'm excited. It's going to be a good game either way. I think these two teams are going to be a good matchup. So we'll talk next week, though. Recap,
sir.
preview, hopefully preview. Gotta knock on wood for that one. Don't jinx it. But Bills Broncos set tomorrow, Saturday at 4:30. So it's all come down to this. Justin, I'm getting excited now. I'm getting excited. The Sabres have had me feeling some kind of way the past couple days. Now we're transitioning into Bills territory. The Sabres do play at 12:30. So
can we get a one Buffalo weekend, maybe?
Maybe.
Oh, the Bandits play tonight. We're picking up the Bandits.
Bandits play tonight. So yeah, you might get a one Buffalo weekend. So hopefully they win. The Sabres have had a trend of doing so. So hopefully they continue and the Bills take down the Broncos. I'm Joe Cali. He's Justin Siejak. This has been another edition of the Buffalo Lowdown podcast. We'll be back with you next week, hopefully for a win. Talk to you soon.